Having a cavity is usually a bad thing, especially when it's your smartphone that has the cavity. During our normal durability test, my thumb cracked through the square display of the Motorola Razr Plus like a fat polar bear on thin ice. Today during the teardown, we'll see just how big that internal cavity really is and why it's even there in the first place. However, if you've ever found yourself feeling on the inside the way this smartphone looks on the outside, today's sponsor might be able to help. BetterHelp. Brains are complicated, and sometimes our own brains can be our own worst enemies. Whether it's just being happy or trying to accomplish goals, mastering your own mental health is extremely important. Personally, I found that limiting my own social media intake has done wonders for my personal well-being. And just like taking your car to a mechanic for a tune-up, talking to a professional therapist is a way to get your life back on a track you want to be on. BetterHelp makes finding a therapist more accessible and affordable and easier since it all happens right from your own phone or computer. Just use my link betterhelp.com/jerryrig, answer a few questions, and you can be matched with a professional therapist in as little as a few days. Betterhelp.com/jerryrig to get 10% off, and if for whatever reason you don't vibe with your first therapist, you can switch for whatever reason without stressing about any additional costs. So if you're struggling, consider online therapy with BetterHelp, link down in the description, and thanks to BetterHelp for supporting this channel. Now it's time to see why the Motorola Razr Plus doesn't have any support underneath the glass. Let's get started. As always, we must begin this folding phone autopsy with a pristine workspace. Cleanliness is paramount around these parts. And of course, heat is our best friend when removing the back glass panel, or I guess the front panels depending on if the phone is open or not. With the adhesive cleanly sliced away around 3 of the 4 edges, I can lift the panel up, revealing the 5-watt wireless charging pad, and a very interesting snake-like gold ribbon cable. In my case, the front screen is a little bit easier to remove, since we don't really care about it surviving or not. It's interesting that Motorola has placed a flexible AMOLED screen on this side as well, just glued to the back side of the glass, so it's not doing any flexing, even though it is technically flexible. With some persuasion, the square exterior can lift up and away from the body, giving us our first look inside at the small recessed battery and the void. We'll get a closer look in a second. There are 2 screws holding down the metal plate which covers some Lego-style ribbon connectors. These have some simple red rubber gaskets surrounding the plug to help maintain the Razr Plus's IP52 water resistance. I don't see any dust inside of the phone, so the seals are doing a good job. The upper screen ribbon is held in place with a singular screw and 1 metal bracket. Then the screen ribbon can be unplugged just like a little Lego. Once again, not a very flexible screen while glued to the glass slab, but maybe Motorola got a discount for buying multiple flexible displays at the same time. 3 more Phillips head screws hold down another metal bracket over the motherboard ribbons, and again we find some more neat little rubber gaskets. Rubber is pretty good at providing water-resistant protection. We can unsnap the 2 long extension ribbons and the fingerprint scanner, just like little Legos, and we find an additional 7 screws holding down the top camera plastics. Once those are gone, along with our SIM card tray friend, the motherboard can come away from the phone in one piece. And it actually looks pretty cool. The circuits have a psychedelic sheen on the top that reminds me of a grocery store parking lot after the rain, or the time BP leaked 3 million barrels of oil into the Gulf of Mexico. Our secondary 13 megapixel wide-angle camera does not have OIS, but the main 12 megapixel camera does have optical image stabilization. The tiny little front-facing camera though is 32 megapixels and does not have OIS. With the motherboard gone, all we have left in this upper half of the phone is the 7000 series aluminum and our really thin battery, which has no magical pull tabs. I also seem to have misplaced my glass alcohol dropper, so we're just going to douse this bad boy in alcohol and continue on our way. The top battery is 835 milliamp hours. The bottom half of the Motorola Razr Plus has a whole lot going on. With the 5-watt wireless charger lifted up, I can remove 6 additional Phillips head screws that are holding down the bottom board. And we finally get to see what this orange perforated looking cable is for. Normally in smartphones we have wider blue signal wires with little circular heads, and Motorola this time has turned those multiple wires into a singular ribbon with the same styles of connection. Kinda nifty. It also turns out that the larger of the two batteries here in the Razr Plus also does not have any magical pull tabs, which is very unfortunate, but with some painful prying and a decent dousing of alcohol, we can lift the 2,965 mAh capacity rectangle from the frame, bringing our total to 3,800. The bottom board containing the 30-watt USB-C charger comes out next, and this also has oil spill vibes to it. We also get our extremely tiny square haptic motor for notifications and vibrations, and of course our lower loudspeaker, which does have foam balls inside. Thumbs up for that. With everything gone from inside the phone, we can more accurately visualize the void underneath the front glass screen. My metal pry tool is acting as the top glass layer, with the metal bracket showing a few millimeters worth of vacant space below the thin display. It's hard to say for sure if the glass really could just be popped with one finger, since technically during my test there were external bending forces involved. I'm half tempted to buy another Razr phone just to give it a shot and see if I could pinch an entire phone to death. For science, obviously. An Achilles heel on a $1,000 piece of tech is something worth knowing. Let me know down in the comments if you think I should. While we're here this deep, we might as well check out the hinge mechanism. The metal bracket where the damage occurred is holding onto a large white rigid piece of plastic. I assume this is part of the water and dust resistance. I'll pull 8 more screws out from the outer edge of the hinge before flipping the Razr Plus over to get access to the screws underneath the flexible AMOLED. Now obviously Samsung is the main player in the folding phone space. They've been pumping out multiple folding phones every year since 2019. And I've not been able to specifically find out who's supplying flexible displays to Lenovo, who owns Motorola, who built this Razr, but I do know that Samsung owns the ultra-thin glass, or UTG trademark, and this flexible display that Motorola is using does have ultra-thin glass inside. You can see the cracks appear as I smash the glass with my finger. I don't think we need Sherlock Holmes to figure out where the folding screens are coming from. With all the other beautiful layers separated from the body, we get access to the graphite cooling pad and the final few screws of the hinge. I'm starting to think that this phone isn't going back together. Now, with the previous Razr folding phone, it had one of the more simple hinges that we've ever seen. Just 2 pins acting like a door hinge more than anything else. But it looks like this time around, Motorola has taken a page out of Samsung's book with a far more complex geared and grooved hinge system. Now, my personal opinion is that I think Samsung might just be helping other manufacturers like Google and Motorola, helping them design their folding phones in order to sell more flexible displays and to mainstream folding tech faster. It's either that or Motorola's about to get wrecked by the most powerful lawyers outside of Disney, because this hinge on the Motorola Razr Plus and Samsung Flip 4 are suspiciously similar. I think it's great, of course, sharing technology is how the world progresses faster, and I'm all down for it, assuming that's actually what's going on. Bring on more folding phones, because I'll be right here waiting. Hit that subscribe if you haven't already, and thanks a ton for watching. I'll see you around.